Guys, this game is not good for my health. And what I mean by that is that I haven't been eating much, I haven't been sleeping much, I haven't been focused at work, I haven't been giving my best at the gym, all because all I want to do is play this game. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of the greatest games I've ever played, and it's easily in my top 10, maybe even top 5. I got so much to say about this game, but for now, roll the clip. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has definitely surprised me. I've been a really big fan of the trilogy so far, the two games that we've got. I loved Remake, played that shit like three, four times. I never replay long games like that, but I enjoyed that game so much. And I didn't know how they can make it that much better. And I was a fan of Final Fantasy 16 as well. Definitely had some problems, but I had confidence in Square. I knew that they were going to have a banger game, but I just thought it was going to be more of the same of what we got with Remake, just new story, of course. But I was not prepared for this massive open world game with crazy side activities that actually matter, that actually have good storylines attached to it. I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself right now, but I have to commend Square with what they did with this game because they went above and beyond. They could have played it safe and just given us Remake 2, but no. They wanted to give us Remake with some Breath of the Wild stuff, Ghost of Tsushima stuff, and expand on the story and the lore that we're used to in the original FF7. So I want to start with the story. The story I thought was very, very well told in this game. Again, they expanded on a lot of things that were side pieces in the original FF7. Same with the characters; they expanded on a lot of characters that had very minor roles in the original, but here they have massive amounts of lore and background and character development that I was really pleasantly surprised of. Like even some of the villains that were throwaway villains in the original have like a full arc in this, and I really love to see the expansion because as good as the FF7 story was, there were so many things that were just breezed upon because that game was very tight. It was one game, it was on the PS1, 3 discs, and you were going along pretty quickly in a lot of the parts in that game. And I think that's what's good about this remake being put into a trilogy is that it has room to breathe. And that's very, very evident in the story, which I do enjoy. Now, that being said, I'm not going to give away a lot. Even the gameplay I'm showing is only going to be up to maybe about chapter 8, chapter 9, just because the ending, specifically the ending, has a lot of things that I feel people need to go in blindly to, because there is some surprising things. As you can tell with the original remake, things have changed. Like there are some things that have changed. For example, Zack is alive. They know that there is a whole nother timeline that had the original FF7 story. So there's things that are changing because they changed their fate in the first game. So it's definitely good to go blindly into the story just because you do want to be surprised. Square could have done a beat by beat remake, but there would have been no surprise in the story. And the biggest spoiler in the original FF7 of Aerith is a question that's been looming over people ever since they found out what happened at the end of Re. And it's a really good payoff. There are some parts. I'm not gonna lie, the ending, the ending confused the shit out of me. But after looking into it afterwards and watching some videos, I do understand it. But man, this is some Kingdom Hearts level shit. Like it's kind of confusing. I'm hoping that the third game answers everything a lot more clearly, and I think it should, because right now there's still like this mystery of what's gonna happen and what's going on. So take that with a grain of salt that I think that the ending had some missteps, but overall I think the payoff was good. I think that the story was well told and the characters are the heart of the remakes. They really have outdone themselves with the character development and the banter between characters and the conversations in this game. It was really good in remake, but because the relationships between these characters are starting to, elaborate, it allows more intimate moments with cast members and, a lot more conversations and arguments and funny quips to go amongst the party. And I really enjoy what they did. I mean, when I see a drawing of Cloud, like this is the Cloud I'm thinking of. This voice, this attitude, how it's portrayed is this is what I'm going to be thinking about if I see an illustration of Cloud Strife. Same with Tifa, Aerith, Barrett, all these people. This is what I'm thinking about now. And that just goes to show you how good these characters are being treated in this game. And that's the one thing that I don't like about a lot of remakes is that sometimes they go against what the core fundamentals of a character was. But I feel like they're nailing all the characters in this game. The only character that I had a little bit of an issue with is Sid, but we don't have a lot of him, and I think that they're gonna, put more emphasis on him in the sequel. So I'm looking forward to what we do see with Sid. But that was the only character that I felt didn't match what his original counterpart was. But yeah, like characters like Sephiroth. So it's weird with Sephiroth because in the original FF7, he was used so sporadically, They really, really built tension around Sephiroth and talked about him a lot without showing him to make you think that this guy is this impossible enemy to beat. Now, they definitely don't have Sephiroth in this game all the time, but they do throw him in a lot more, and it makes sense due to what's going on with the story. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but what's going on with the story, it does make sense why Sephiroth is in it more. But I think that they don't overdo it. There's no overkill to him. I still think that every time he does appear, it's like a oh shit kind of moment because, like, it's Sephiroth. We get to play as him in the beginning, and he is as badass and as broken as you think he would be. But I think that they're doing a good job of Sephiroth, and they have to change his motives a bit because of what's happening in the story. But I think it's justified, and yeah, he's a badass in this game. I love Sephiroth. I like what they're doing with him, and I'm excited to see what happens with him in the third game. So this part's gonna pretty much end where Disc 2 ended in the original FF7. It's a good point to end if you're gonna make a trilogy out of it, I think. And I'm just hungry for the next game. Like, they said that it's gonna come a lot sooner than 4 years. I really, really hope that's true. Like, I want this shit in 2 years, 3 years tops. Especially because they built so much of the world in this game that you can easily copy a lot of assets, especially with how the original FF7 is. Like, there is some backtracking into old towns. So I feel like that's gonna cut some development time, but like, yo, Square, give me this game now. Like, you guys have gameplay demos later down the line, like invite me. Like, I'll pay for my ticket. I just need to get my hands on the third game because I'm ready, man. Like, I'm fucking ready. So the gameplay has seen a lot of overhaul. There's a lot of new additions, but there's also a lot of new returning things. So I want to start with the combat. The combat is definitely the same as Remake, except it's a lot more expanded on. For one, there's a lot more animations with the characters, a lot more moves as well due to the weapons, the amount of weapons in this game, and the combat is just as fun as it was. What I really do like about this game is that there is some challenge to it. I was playing on dynamic difficulty, and because I guess I was doing good for the most part, sometimes I would go into a battle and just get my shit wrecked, like completely. And I like that because there's a lot more strategy in this game. I hate to compare Final Fantasy 16, but with Final Fantasy 16, I definitely felt like that game was very easy. Hardly died in it, even on the hard difficulty. But with this game, like, you have to stop and think sometimes. Like, what's this person's weakness? What moves can increase their stagger? What can put them pressured so that I can stagger them? And then once I stagger them, do I have enough ATB to just unleash all my strongest moves with all my characters? What characters am I going to bring with me? there's just so much more customization in this game. And because you do have a larger party, you have three more people than what you used to. You know, you still have your party of three, but you can cycle between five people now instead of just three. So it's really, really cool to see. I really, really do enjoy playing as Yuffie. I think Yuffie is one of the best characters in this game by far. For the most part, my party was Cloud, obviously, Tifa, and Yuffie, and I just thought that it was a really, really great party. Very fast movements, a lot of heavy damage. But that being said, I switched to Barret. I put Red 13, Kate Sith. He was my least favorite, to be honest, but you know, he has some moments. Aerith during boss fights for the healing, and just being able to have that customization, that ability to approach battles differently is great, you know, and it allows for more replayability because, you know, next time I do play this game, maybe I won't use Tifa and Yuffie. Maybe I'm going to use Barret and Red 13 for the most part because every character plays so different. And I just really, really love that each character was given so much care and so much time in their gameplay and is all fun. Like, there's not any bad characters. Sure, Kate Sith was my least favorite to play as, but he's not bad. Like in any other game, he would be a great party member. And there's a lot more enemy variety, and that's due to the amount of world that you go to. You know, every region has different enemies, and different enemies have different weaknesses and different strengths, and it's just so cool because it's so fresh, you know? And I'm gonna get to the open world aspect of the game shortly, but this game is just so damn addictive. And the combat alone, like any time I saw an enemy in the wild or in the dungeons, the linear dungeons, I saw an enemy, like I was ready. And when the music starts up and you're freaking throwing some combos down and you're parrying and you're doing all of that stuff, like it's all just magic. It's literally all magic and you just get so hyped. You know, I put my headset on, I'm cranking that volume up max because I want to be fully immersed in this world. But yeah, the combat, again, the star of the show, is the star in remake and it's the star here. It is so fun. The boss fights are incredible. The presentation of the boss fights and how seamless that they transition in between stages of the boss fight are amazing. And the boss fights are genuinely hard. Like some of them, like I was on my last legs before I pulled off the win, and it makes you feel so satisfied when you're almost about to have your party wiped, but you pull through and turn it around and you win. And I just think that the boss fights were great, and there's a lot of different boss fights in this game. So if you love your boss fights and you love your combat, your real time slash turn based combat is the perfect blend for you, and you are going to be in love with the combat in this game. And that's also not adding on to the fact that there's a whole new mechanic called synergy. So with synergy, different party members have different, you know, special moves that they can do together. And some of them are just damage dealers, some of them are meter dealers, some of them are buffs, some of them raise your ATB into 3 bars, so now you have more max ATB, and they're just so fun to see. And you know, the choreography with these synergy moves are they're so damn sick. Like every character has one with a different partner, and there's just so many to see. And also there's normal synergy moves as well that don't take the bar. If you hold the R1 and press one of the face buttons, you can do like a guard together or a counter together, and that helps build your actual synergy move meter. And it just goes to show back to the characters how this wasn't in the first game, but because their bonds are deepening, they're now doing like teamwork moves. So it goes hand in hand with where the characters are in the story. Like they know how to work together now, and the combat is a reflection of it. I just think it was a really, really cool add-on because how the characters act, it makes sense that they're now starting to work together in this kind of way. But the main new thing is the open world in this game. So this is not the first Final Fantasy to do open world. Obviously, Final Fantasy 15 was. And Final Fantasy 15, listen, I liked 15 even at launch. I liked 15. But 15, their world was dead, you know, in terms of there was not much to do. It was a lot of just empty landscapes. Beautiful, but it was empty. Now, this game, I think they nailed it. because it's not a true open world game like what we saw in 15. It's pretty much like mini biomes, but all of these biomes are massive. Like they're all little mini open world maps. And there's just so many things to do in it. There's so many side quests, so many checklist kind of things like your Ubisoft towers and, point of interest. And at first you're like, dude, that's like every other open world game. That doesn't sound sick. But how it's incorporated in this game, it's weird. It's not the game wants you to explore, but they put you on a path of how to explore. It's just up to you if you want to take their path. Because once you get a tower, it shows all the things around you. So there's like intel. There's region intel. You'll do the region intel. Then Chadley. Chadley is the AI guy that returns from Final Fantasy remake. He'll be like, oh, since you discover this, there's something nearby that I'm just getting on my scouting. Then you'll go there, and then he'll tell you there's something else new, and then next thing you know, you've explored everything. And I'm not one to explore everything on maps. I'll do the side quests, but I'm not going to go and do all the little mini tasks. But man, you want to do everything on the map, because not only does it get you your materia stronger because you can get your summons stronger this way. No, you can also get better equipment. You can get a bunch of equips and items that are good for you in combat, or there's good storylines that's incorporated in it. So all of these things sound like they're just like your run-of-the-mill checklist things to do, but because there's like a story and and actual proper rewards incorporated into it, it doesn't feel like busy work. Like you want to go and do that battle on that side of the map because it's going to get you something that's going to benefit your characters afterwards in the main story. And that's just the perfect way to do it. And on top of that, some of the storylines that are incorporated with these open world tasks are better than the main story quest. Like they have amazing payoffs that you want to see because you'll be fighting the most incredible bosses, the incredible stories that are going to be missed. And this is completely missed. You don't have to do a lot of these things, but you want to. So I just think that Square nailed the open world aspect of this, and I think that it's just going to get better from here. They now have the blueprint of what works. Now it's just time to strengthen it. But for the first time with this formula, they nailed it. Like I think the open world is the best part of this game. Open world and the combat mixed together is just such a fun mix, because you're having this great time exploring, parkouring up buildings or up mountains, getting into these chats with your party while you're doing that, running into enemies, doing your combat, seeing a point of interest that's right beside that combat encounter, and it's just all such a fun experience. And next thing you know, you do all the missions on the region, and you didn't even mean to. You just were just magically brought there because of how fun the gameplay loop is. And I just think that is a testament of how good this game is actually designed. And bro, you're not just heel towing. You can ride chocobos. Each region has a different chocobo. Some of them jump off mushrooms and fly. Some of them can climb up walls, depending on what you need in that map. And again, it just keeps riding your chocobo fun. Like every time I go to a new region, I'm like, yo, I wonder what this chocobo is gonna do. I never gave a shit about chocobos. Like, sure, they're funny. They're like giant chickens. But now I'm like, I cannot wait to see the sick chocobo, and I can customize him and give him armor and a cowboy hat and shit. Like, dude, this is sick. I love my chocobo. And yeah, man, like you get vehicles later on, like you can drive vehicles, and the car controls are actually not half bad. Like, man, like they're killing it with this game. There's so much to do. And I think that's the biggest surprise. Like, they did not have to give us all of these things to do. And they did. And the best part is, they're designed well. The mini games in this game are incredible. And I'm going to get to the mini games right now. Alright, so the first mini game I want to talk about is Queen's Blood. Queen's Blood is a card game that is in the game. You can go to tournaments, you can face people in towns in Queen's Blood, and it's this really simple card game that has some strategy. And at first you're like, okay, like I kind of get the gist of this, but as you start to play, you see the strategy that's actually involved with the higher level players, And this game is incredible. Like they need to release this as a standalone game for mobile. I'm not even kidding. Like obviously it'd have to get some balance patches, but they can do what they did with Gwent with this game. Like I think there's a demand. Like people all over the internet are loving Queen's Blood, and it's for a reason. Like it is an addictive game. I go to a town and I see like three little cursors of Queen's Blood players. I'm there. Like that's one of the first things I do when I go to a town. I go and challenge those mofos and freaking beat them because Queen's Blood is that damn fun. But on top of that, there's Fort Condor, which is like a Clash Royale kind of game. There's freaking Chocobo racing. There's fighting simulator. There's motorcycle simulators. There's a bunch of side quest mini games as well. Like there's just so many mini games, and some people felt like it was too much. But I understand why, because I think that this gives a great distraction. It's a palate cleanser. Like after you fight some crazy bosses and fight like four three-face bosses and go through a long dungeon, you want to have a palate cleanser. You want to do something relaxing, and I just think that having the ability to go and do all of these different mini games that are actually designed very well, especially Queen's Blood, is amazing. Like, and you don't have to do it. Like, there's a Queen's Blood tournament on the boat in one chapter, and you can skip it if you want. I don't recommend it because the Queen's Blood storyline. That's the thing. There's a storyline attached to the Queen's Blood is one of the best storylines and quests in the game, and it's totally missable, and it's from a mini game, which is just crazy. Like it's mind blowing. But yeah, man, like the mini games in this game are really fun. I definitely recommend doing them when you can. When you go to the gold saucer, there's a bunch of there as well, and you can get prizes for it, and you can trade your prizes for things that can level your characters up and be collectibles and all of that. So yeah, I think the rewards for these mini games alone make it worth playing because you're missing out. Like there's some mini games that get you the best equips for characters. Like for Tifa, one of the claws for her, the dragon claws, you have to do a mini game and get the best score to get it. Totally worth it. So, on top of the open world and the mini games, we do have linear dungeons with story dungeons. Like there are going to be some linear sections that are very, very similar to like what we got in Remake. That's totally fine. I think they're great for story missions, that they can have those crazy set pieces and everything. That's all good. The side quests are actually good in this game. Now, I know that in Remake, the side quests were pretty bare bones. They were pretty skippable. 16, they were really bad. I actually completed all the side quests in 16 on my first playthrough, and it got to the point where I was just skipping all the dialogue because it just didn't matter. But the side quests in this game have great stories. The stories have heart. They have drama. They have great rewards. So you want to do them. Like you want to do the side quests in this game because not only is it great stories and great payoffs, but you get good rewards. And I just think that this is when Square finally nailed the side quest portion, because in all of their games with side quests, I'm not gonna lie, the side quests have been fucking garbage, but they actually got them good this time. And it's just showing that this game and the series and Square are really, really improving with Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy was kind of in a dark place after 13, and then 15 came and it was kind of lackluster. And I really think that they're starting to turn it around. Some people didn't like 16, but I think 16 was a really good game, and I think that when people look back in a couple of years at 16, they're gonna be like, that was a good Final Fantasy game. But I think Remake, 16, and now Rebirth, they're killing it, and they're improving on every game, and I really think that they nailed the side quest portion in this game. So I know that some people have been complaining about the performance, especially in the performance mode. I can definitely agree with that. The game is kind of blurry. Square did send a tweet that they were working on a patch to help fix the performance mode. That'll be good. It's definitely running at a pretty low resolution. I mean, it's not distracting. The frames don't drop. Like even in the crazier set pieces, I didn't get anything under 60. Like my thing was just buttery smooth 60 FPS. Best way to play in my opinion. I did switch to graphics mode, but I felt the graphics mode was just way too choppy. It felt like it was under 30. I know, like, Digital Foundry and all those people were saying it is 30. Maybe I'm just a 60 FPS snob or a 60 plus FPS snob. I don't know, but I could not play that game. As beautiful as it was in 30, I couldn't play it like that. I definitely recommend performance, and especially if you're gonna wait to buy this game, it'll probably have its patch by then, and you'll get a better performing, 60 FPS performance mode. But I didn't get any bugs, no crashes, no nothing like that. Like I think that this game is very well developed, and I think that it's worth every penny. The content amount in this game and the performance alone, like I think it's a great package. I think this is a full game. There's no BS microtransactions or any like DLC that needs to be added to this game. I think they gave you a full package. My first playthrough, I've been playing for over 75 hours, and there's still some things I didn't finish. So you're getting a full meaty content game with Rebirth, and man, like I can't stress it enough that this just gets my highest recommendation. It is now easily one of my favorite games of all time. So my overall thoughts, yeah, like this is like a 9.5 or 10, like easily. I don't give score numbers, but I'm just trying to tell you how freaking good this game is. Is it perfect? No, there's no such thing as a perfect game, but this is a pretty damn close perfect game. I think the positives far outweigh the negatives in every way, and I think they have a great formula, and I cannot wait to see what they do with the third entry in the series. It can only get better from here. I really truly trust Square that they're gonna make the third game even better than this. Let's hope so. But even if it's a little bit worse than this game, that's still a pretty damn good game. We got a great trilogy here. The main thing is if they can deliver on the story, because that is the only thing that I question because of how strange and out there the story is. But in terms of the actual gameplay, the exploration, the side quests, the performances from the characters, the interactions, it's amazing. It's truly amazing, and again, I have to give Square a round of applause for this. And it's kind of sad that people are thinking this game's not selling well. We haven't gotten the digital numbers yet. I think that's going to be a huge boost. But man, like this game deserves to sell well because the risks that they put in this game, they need to be explored by other companies because gaming is kind of shit now. Like we're getting the most generic things ever, and it's nice when a game like this steps out of the comfort zone and gives us something that we weren't expecting. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you're my game of the year for sure. I can't see anything else beating you. Good freaking job. Just that's all I can say. So yeah, that's the end of the review. I hope you guys enjoyed. It did take me a little bit to get this game out just because your boy's been super busy, and this game is super long. And I could have rushed through it, but I physically couldn't make myself rush through it just because of how much fun I was having in the open world. I wanted to see it all, so I did, and I took my time. And you're getting the review now, so my bad. But I no regrets, no regrets. But thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. Always love the comments. Always love the likes. Definitely share with your friends if you haven't. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. More videos are on the way. We've released a couple reviews for 2024, and games are looking pretty good in 2024. I'm pretty stoked. Like we're only in March, and we're getting bangers. Like we have at least 3 good 9.5 games with Persona 3 Reload, Tekken 8, and now this. I don't know, like Rise of the Ronin's coming out in a couple weeks. Let's see how that is, but I don't know. I thought 2024 was going to be a filler year, but this shit is slapping so far. I mean, it gave me one of my favorite games of all time, so that's amazing. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. King Calf is now signing out. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.